pericycle. Netum. Netum is gymnosperm, which distributed all over the world. It represented by about 40 species, is confined to tropical and humid regions of the world. Nearly all species except Netum microcarpum occur below an altitude of 1500 meters. It is wildly climber. Netamula is a wildly climber having branches. Woody climber. Netum neeman, Netum contractum, which grow in Kerala, Nilagiri Hills, and Kunur in Tamil Nadu. Netum neeman, a shrubby plant found in Assam. Netum montanum, a climber with smooth Assam, a climber with smooth slender. And Netum latifolium is a climber found in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Habit of Netum. Majority of the Netum species are climbers, except a few shrubs and trees. Netum trinervi is apparently parasitic. Two types of branches are present on the main stem: limited growth branches and unlimited growth branches. Each branch contains nodes and internodes. Stem of several species of Netum is articulated. In climbing species, the branches of limited growth or short shoots are generally unbranched and bear the foliage leaves. Look at this picture. It is looking like a dicotyledon. Good broad leaves are there which are showing reticulate venation and a cluster of strobili. Now coming to the anatomy of netum. Young root is having several starch-filled parenchymatous cortex, the cells of which are large and polygonal in outline, and endodermal layer is distinguishable. Casparian strips are seen in the endodermis followed by 4 to 6 layered of pericycle. Roots are diarch and exarch. Small amount of primary xylem visible in young roots become indistinguishable after secondary growth. The secondary growth is normal type. A continuous zone of wood is present in the old roots. It consists of tracheids, vessels, and xylem parenchyma. The tracheids have uniseriate border pits along with the bars of Sanio. Vessels have simple or small multiseriate border pits. Some of the xylem elements have starch grains. Bars of Sanio are generally absent in the vessels. Phloem consists of sieve cells and phloem parenchyma. Young stem. The young stem in transfer section is roughly circular in outline and resembles with a typical dicotyledonous stem. It remains surrounded by a single layered epidermis, which is thickly circularized and consists of rectangular cells. Some of the epidermal cells show papillate outgrowths, sunken stomata are present. The cortex consists of outer 5 to 7 cells thick parenchymatous region, middle few cells thick parenchymatous region, and inner 2 to 4 cells thick sclerenchymatous region. Endodermis and pericycle regions are not very clear distinguishable. Several conjoined collateral open and endark vascular bundles are arranged in a ring in the young stem. Xylem consists of tracheids and vessels. Presence of vessels in an angiospermic character. Protoxylem elements are spiral or annual, while the metaxylem shows border pits which are circular in outline. The phloem consists of sieve cells and phloem parenchyma. An extensive pith consisting of polygonal parenchymatous cells is present in the center of the young stem. Old stems in Netum show secondary growth. In Netum neeman, the secondary growth is normal, as seen also in the dicotyledons. But in majority of the species Netamula africanum, the anomalous secondary growth is present. The primary cambium is ephemeral, short-lived. The secondary cambium is in different parts of cortex developed in the form of successive rings. one after the other. The first cambium cuts off secondary xylem towards inside and secondary phloem towards outside. This cambium ceases to function after some time. Another cambium gets differentiated along the outermost secondary phloem region, and the same process is repeated. In the later stages, more secondary xylem is produced on one side and less on the other side, and thus the eccentric rings of xylem and phloem are formed in the wood. This type of eccentric wood is the characteristic feature of the angiospermic lianes. The periderm is thin and develops from the outer cortex. It is also it also possesses lenticels. The cortex also contains chlorenchymatous and parenchymatous tissue along with the many sclerites. Look at this picture. One side growth is it is known as eccentric growth of abnormal secondary growth in the wood of the old stem. In old stem of secondary would consist of tracheids and vessels. Tracheids contain border pits on their radial walls, while vessels contain simple pits. Transitional stages containing one to many perforations in the terminal part of the vessels are also seen commonly. In tangential longitudinal section of the stem, the wood xylem and medullary rays are visible. Border pits on on both the radial and tangential walls are present. Medullary rays are either uniseriate or multiseriate and consist of polygonal parenchymatous cells. They are boat shaped and their breadth varies from two to many cells. Sieve cells of the phloem contain oblique and perforated sieve plates. Look at this picture, border pits and which are present on the elongated medullary multiseriate medullary rays showing uniseriate medullary rays. Coming to the leaf. Internally, Needham leaves also resemble with a dicot leaf. It is bounded by a layer of thickly cuticularized epidermis on both the surfaces. Stomata are distributed all over the lower surface except on the veins. The mesophyll is differentiated generally into a single layered palisade and a well developed spongy parenchyma. The latter consist of many loosely packed cells. Many stellate branched sclerites are present near the lower epidermis in the spongy parenchyma. Many stone cells and in the midrib region on the leaf. Several vascular bundles in the form of an arch or curve are present in the prominent midrib region. A ring of thick walled stone cells is present just outside the phloem. Each vascular bundle is coigent and collateral. Next, the xylem of each vascular bundle faces towards the upper surface while the phloem faces towards the lower surface. The xylem consists of tracheids, vessels, and xylem parenchyma, while the phloem consists of sieve cells and phloem parenchyma. So these are the netum, ula, TS internal structure of the leaf. Now coming to the reproduction. Netum is dioecious. The reproductive organs are organized into well-developed cones or strobili. These cones are organized into inflorescences. Generally, inflorescence is panicle type. Sometimes the cones are terminal in position. A cone consists of central axis, at the base of which are present two opposite and connate bracts. Nodes and internodes are present in the cone axis. Whorls of circular bracts are present on the nodes. These are arranged one above the other to form cupules or collars. Flowers are present in these collars. Upper few collars may be reduced and are sterile in nature in Netum ula, Netum neman. Male cone. Look at this picture, male cone. The male flowers are arranged in definite rings above each collar on the nodes of the axis of male cone. The number of rings varies between 3 to 6. The male flowers in the rings are arranged alternately. There is a ring of abortive ovules or imperfect female flowers above the rings of male flowers. Each male flower contains two coherent bracts which form the perianth. Two unilocular anthers remain attached on a short stalk enclosed within the perianth. At maturity, when the anthers are ready for dehiscence, the stalk elongates and the anthers come out to the perianth sheath. In Netum neman, a few flowers are sometimes seen fusing with each other. This is complete diagrams which is showing the stamen and anthers, dithecous anthers. This is the perianth. Nitamula. Development of male flower. In very young ones, certain cells below each collar becomes meristematic. They divide repeatedly and form a small hump-like outgrowth. Certain cells on the upper side of this annular outgrowth start to differentiate into the initials of the ovules. They develop into abortive ovules which form the uppermost ring. The cells of the lower side of this annular outgrowth form the primordium of male flower. A central cushion of cells develops by the repeated divisions in the male flower, primordium. This cushion gets surrounded by a circular sheath called perianth. The sheath-like perianth encloses the central cushion-like mass only partially, with the development of a depression or notch in the central mass. Two lobes differentiate and later are developed into two anther lobes. With the help of many divisions, the basal portion of this central mass of cells starts to differentiate into a stalk. This stalk elongates and pushes the anther lobes towards the outer side. Each anther lobe remains surrounded by an epidermal layer and a few wall layers which enclose a microsporangium. The innermost wall layer enclosing the sporogenous tissue is known as tapetum. The sporogenous cells become loose, contract, round up, and change into the spore mother cells. In the process of microspore formation, the tapetum and two wall layers are used for the developing microspores. The microspore mother cells undergo meiosis and ultimately the spores to tetrads are formed. The characteristic radial thickenings develop in the epidermal cells. They help in the dehiscence of microsporangium. The microspores are ornamented. Like coming to the female cone, female cones resemble with the male cones except in some definite species. A single ring of 4 to 10 female cones or ovules present just above each collar. A few of ovules develop into mature seeds. In the younger condition, there is hardly any external differences between female and male cones. All the ovules are of the same size when young, but later on a few of them enlarge and develop into mature seeds. All the ovules never mature into seeds. Look at this. Naked ovules, very big ovule and is the largest ovule. Ovule is equal to the female flower. Each ovule consists of a nucellus, that is the female cone central axis. Each axis at each node there are 6 to 8 minimum number of ovules or female flowers are present. The ovule is surrounded by three envelopes. The nucellus consists of central mass of cells is called nucellar tissue. The inner envelope elongates beyond the middle envelope to form the micropylar tube or style. The nucellus contains the female gametophyte. There is no nucellar beak in the ovule of Netum. Stomata, sclerites, and latticeparous cells are present in two outer envelopes. This is the structure of Ellis of ovule. Look at this. Each ovule is elongated and the opening pore of the ovule is called straight and it is micropylar, and below that one is micropylar tube is there. where the entry of pollen tube, outer envelope, middle envelope, and inner envelope, and there is a pollen chamber present from which is below the micropylar beak, and there is some central free nuclear part of the female gametophyte. And here important structure here, this is the pavement tissue. Below the embryo sac, there is a presence of fan-shaped parenchymatous tissue is present. This is the cellular part of the female gametophyte, and this is the nuclear part of the female gametophyte, and this is the tissue, pavement tissue. Some abnormal cones are also present in the male cones in the netum neman along the male cones in a one ring. And morphological nature of three envelopes. So coming to this, ovule consists of several different views have been given by different workers regarding the morphological nature of the three envelopes. Few of them are mentioned here. According to the Strasburger, three envelopes of nucellus are integuments developing from the different stages of single integument. According to Bakari, opinion that the outer envelope is a perianth while the inner two envelopes are integuments. Von Tegum considered the two inner envelopes as the integuments while the outer envelope as an ovary are analogous. So there are, according to Lignier and Tinson, however, the outer two envelopes form a perianth while the inner envelope is equivalent to an angiospermic ovary. So megasporangium and megasporogenesis and female gametophyte. So this is the development of female gametophyte. 4 to 10 4 to 10 ovular primordia differentiate on the annular meristematic ring. This ring develops below each collar of the female cone in the same manner as that of the male cone. The ovular primordium divides and redivides several times to form a mass of cells. All the three envelopes of the female flower develop around this mass of cells. The innermost third envelope remains fused with the nucellus at the base, while its upper portion remains free and form the long micropylar tube or style. In the young conditions, an outer epidermal layer is distinguishable in the nucellus. 2 to 4 archisporial cells develop below the epidermis at later stage. The archisporial cells divide periclinally to form outer primary parietal cells and inner sporogenous cells. The primary parietal cells and the epidermal layer divide periclinally and anticlinally several times, resulting into a massive nucellus. The sporogenous cells divide and redivide to form megaspore mother cells, which remain arranged in linear rows. All the megaspore mother cells may divide reductionally and form tetrasporic embryo sacs, but ultimately all except one degenerate. One others are degenerate. As many as 250-62 in Netum neman, 1500 in Netum mula, free nuclei are formed in the female gametophyte, leaving a vacuole in the center. The female gametophyte is tetrasporic in development. It is bordered towards the micropylar end and it is tapered towards the chalazal end. The nuclei near the chalazal end get surrounded by a cell wall, while those towards the micropylar end remain free. Gametophyte is thus partly cellular and partly nuclear. The archegonia are absent in natum. Certain nuclei near the micropylar end start to function as egg nuclei. According to Swami, the only nucleus in a uninucleate cell or one of the nuclei in a multinucleate cell enlarges and functions as the egg in natum ula. The nucellar beak is absent in natum. So look at this. Development of female gametophyte in Netum vula. The megaspore mother cell divides reductionally and form four free haploid nuclei in the mother cell. Megaspore tetrads are never formed in Netum. So, microsporangium and microsporogenesis. Development of the microsporangium can be studied only in young anthers. Two archisporial cells are distinguished below the epidermal layer. Archisporial cells divide and redivide to form many celled archisporium. The outermost layer of the archisporium divides periclinally to form an outer layer of parietal cells and inner layers of sporogenous cells. The parietal cells form the wall layers and the tapetal layer is layered by periclinal divisions. The sporogenous cells develop into microspore mother cells by some regular divisions. Tapetal cells later on become binucleate. Microspore mother cells divide reductionally to form haploid microspores. The microspores may be arranged in isobilateral, decussate, or tetrahedral manner in their earlier stages. Side by side, the wall cells and the tapetal cells degenerate and ultimately disorganize. The epidermal cells become thick, cutaneized, and radially elongated. Many fibrous thickenings also develop in these cells. Small globular structures are present on the inner surface of the epidermis in Netum vula and Netum nivan. Anthers descends along a double row of small cells which extends from the tip towards the base. Coming to the development of male gametophyte, pollen grains or microspores are roughly spherical in outline. They are uninucleate and remain surrounded by a thick and spiny exine and thin intine. Mature pollen grains are shed at three nucleate stage. These include prothallal nucleus, tube nucleus, and generative nucleus. In Netum africanum and in Netum neman, according to Pearson, this three nucleate stage is reached by first dividing the microspore nucleus mitotically into two, and one of them again gets divided. Further development is affected only in the pollen chamber. The intine comes out by rupturing the exine and forms a pollen tube. The tube nucleus migrates into the pollen tube. The generative nucleus also adopts the same course and divides into two unequal male gametes in the tube. Prothallal cell does not enter the pollen tube. According to Thomson, opinioned that the prothallal cell does not form at all in the male gametophyte. The microspore nucleus divides into a tube nucleus and a generative cell. The latter divides into a stalk cell and body cell. The tube nucleus and body cell enter in the pollen tube, where the body cell divides into two equal male gametes. According to Negi and Madalata, the microspore nucleus in Netum neman and Netamula divides into a small lenticular cell and a large cell. The lenticular cell does not take part in the further development and ultimately disappears. The large nucleus divides into a tube nucleus and a generative cell, both of which pass into the tube. The generative cell divides into two equal male gametes in the tube. A stalk cell is never formed in these species. Now, pollination. Wind pollination is help for the dropping of pollen grains to the micropylar tube of the ovule. The micropylar tube secretes a drop of fluid in which certain pollen grains get entangled and reach up to the pollen chamber. The nucellus cells below the pollen chamber are full of starch, which give nourishment for the fertilization. The fertilization in Netum has been studied only by few workers. Wasil studied this phenomena in Netum vula. At the time of fertilization, the pollen tube pierces through the membrane of the female gametophyte just near to a group of densely cytoplasmic cells. The tip of pollen tube bursts and the male cells are released. One of the male cells enters the egg cell. The male and female nuclei, after lying side by side for some time, fuse with each other and form the zygote. According to the Swami, the only identifying features of the zygote are its spherical shape and dense cytoplasm. Both the male cells of a pollen tube may remain functional if two eggs are present close to the pollen tube. Endosperm. In all gymnosperms except Netum, a cellular endosperm develops before fertilization. In Netum, the cell's formation, although starts before fertilization, a part of the gametophyte remains free nuclear at the time of fertilization. After fertilization, the ball formation in the female gametophyte starts in such a way that the cytoplasm gets divided into many compartments. Each of these compartments contains many nuclei. All the nuclei of one compartment fuse and form a single nucleus. The ball formation starts from the base and proceeds upwards. The ball formation varies greatly. In Netum, only the lower portion of the gametophyte may become cellular, leaving the remaining upper portion free nuclear. Sometimes the entire gametophyte may become cellular. In some cases, the upper portion may become cellular instead of the lower portion. Sometimes only the middle portion may become cellular, and in still other cases, there may not be any wall formation at all. The characteristic triple fusion of the angiosperm is, however, absent in Netum. Now, this is the embryo of the Netum. Now, the embryo development in several species has been studied by many scientists, including Lotze, Coulter, and Thomson, but the details put forward by these workers are highly variable. Maheshwari and Vasil have stated that in all the angiosperms, the first division of the zygote is accompanied by a wall formation, but in all gymnosperms, except Sequoia sempervirensis, these are free nuclear divisions in the zygote. Netum in this respect forms a link in between gymnosperms and angiosperms by showing both free nuclear divisions as well as cell divisions. Thomson opinioned that a two-celled pro-embryo is formed from each of these two cells develops a tube called suspensor. Now the nucleus divides and one of the two nuclei undergoes free nuclear divisions, forming four nuclei. The embryo gets organized by these four nuclei. There is no division in the other large nucleus. So this is the embryonic development of the stage. A small cell cut off, only one of the three tubes receives, and 2 to 3 Madhulata worked on the zygote development in Needham Neiman. According to her, 2 to 4 or sometimes up to 12 zygotes may develop in a gametophyte, of which normally one remains functional. From the zygote develops generally one or sometimes 2 to 3 small tubular outgrowths. Only one of these tubes receives the nucleus and survives, while the remaining tubes disintegrate and soon die. The surviving outgrowth elongates, becomes branched, and grows into different directions through the intercellular spaces of the endosperm. All the primary suspensor tubes usually remain coiled round each other. A small cell is cut off at the tip of the primary suspensor tube in Needham Neyman. It soon divides, first transversely and then longitudinally, resulting into four cells. Now irregular divisions takes place, forming a group of cells. Some of these cells divide and elongate to form secondary suspensor. The remaining cells at the tip form the embryonal mass. So this is the primary suspensor and secondary suspensor, and below this diagram, this is the embryonal mass. Ula, in Needham ula, a small cell cut off at the tip of the tube called peculiar cell. This peculiar cell soon divides and forms a group of cells. The secondary suspensor and the embryonal mass are differentiated from this group of cells. By this time, the wall of the tube starts to become thicker. Whatsoever may be the pattern of formation of the embryonal mass and secondary suspensor, the cells of the former are small, compact, dense in cytoplasm and develop into embryo proper, while that of the later secondary suspensor and thin-walled uninucleate and highly vacuolated. The primary and secondary suspensor help in pushing the embryo into the endosperm. Soon a step tip with the two lateral cotyledons form in the tip region of the embryonal mass. On the opposite side, develop the root tip with a root cap. A feeder develop after the formation of stem and root tip. The feeder is a protuberance-like structure present in between root and stem tips. Thus, the stem tip, two cotyledons, feeder, root tip, and root cap are the parts of the mature embryo. Seeds are oval in shape, elongated also, and green to red in color. It remains surrounded by a three-layered envelope which encloses the embryo and the endosperm. Outer envelope is fleshy and consists of parenchymatous cells. It imparts color to the seeds. The middle envelope is hard, protective, and made up of up to up to three layers. Outer one is parenchymatous, middle one is palisade cells, and innermost one is fibrous regions. The inner envelope is parenchymatous, branched vascular bundles traverse through all the three envelopes. So this is the seedling and germination of the seed. It is epigeal type. Cotyledons are pushed out of the seed. Hypocotyle elongates, and this brings the cotyledons out of the soil. The first green leaves of the plant are formed by the cotyledons. The first pair of foliage leaves it produces by the development of plumule. A persistent feeder is present up to a very late stage of the seed. So thank you one and all.